Director of the Etna Community Organization. Here with me is Robert, one of ECO's board members. Hi, Robert.
Hi, Alexis. Hi, everyone out there. Thanks for joining us again this week.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Now we're on week 8 of this series, and it's so incredible to just think how far it's come. We launched it in the early days of COVID-19 to provide a platform, for us to stay together, for us to share stories, and to support our local business community. And I know we really had no idea what to expect in terms of how it would be received or if anyone would really even watch it. And honestly, it's been just really amazing. And I've personally been blown away by how the program has progressed, and most importantly, though, by the different stories that we've heard. Just such a richness and diversity of stories from our community members that you never know unless you ask the questions. So that's been, to me, a little treasure. Do you have any reflections on that?
Yeah, it's been a kind of behind the scenes. It's not really a tour of the different businesses, but to get to know the business owners and the different people in the community that are working on COVID-19 related efforts. That has certainly been pretty remarkable. And we wouldn't have done it if we didn't have to be remote. And so that's kind of unique. Yeah, and
I think it's interesting. You said, we would never have done this if we didn't have to socially distance. But I think it's a valuable platform. Now we know how nice this is, and even when we can gather, it could be an interesting thing to look.
Oh,
at.
Yeah. I don't think we can do a community meeting now without having online access.
Yeah. So. It's awesome. It's opened up a lot of doors. And for those who have been able to tune in, I hope you've enjoyed the stories as well, and have, heard the messages and taken away some lessons for this time. Last week, we heard from Craig Petraglia of Cobalt's Keep, who I thought was awesome, was going to be exploring 3D printing with his business. So that's cool. And Tom Hill Jr. was on. He's one of the ETPED leaders, and he ran the Etna Marathon as a fundraiser for Bread of Life Food Pantry. So those are 2 awesome stories. If you didn't get a chance to tune in, you're able to rewatch all of the videos on our Facebook page, as well as on our YouTube channel by searching Etna Community Organization. So who do we have with us this week, Robert?
Well, we have 3 guests this week. We have Kiya Tomlin, who is a designer, and she has both a place that makes clothing and sells clothing, both as a storefront and online. So excited to hear her story. She's also been very active during this time period in providing supplies to our frontline workers. And so we'll hear more about that. We also have Mary Ellen Ramage, the borough manager, someone that we often speak about on this show, her work. So we get to hear about it firsthand, which is very nice. And finally, we have Shaler Senior and Junior Councilwoman Jessica, and look forward to talking about what life is like as a senior and what brought her to serve on council. So excited to hear those stories, very valuable. And one of the other aspects, Alexis, that we missed, the idea that these are recorded, right? They're recorded, they're saved, and they, being able to go back and kind of answer, what was it like during this time period, and having the stories captured. It's going to be very interesting time capsule.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be really nice to look back on. I'm excited for the interviews tonight as well, but before we get to them, maybe some updates. And I know a few things happened last week. Robert, can you start us off by sharing?
Sure. There was a major tragedy on Saturday in West Etna. There were 3 families affected in a terrible fire. And these are we live in dense neighborhoods, very close together. So the ability for a fire to spread is higher than if we were higher spaced. But we love the density. We love that about our community. And one of the essential things to that is having those first responders. We had our fire department and other local fire departments were on the scene, as well as police and first responders. It takes a huge community effort to respond to a tragedy like that, and just feeling just deeply saddened for that family, but also very grateful for our first responders.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. My heart goes out to everybody involved, the families, and gratitude for the first responders as well. Over the weekend, we also launched a fundraiser for our Dinners for Neighbors programs, maybe a positive thing that happened over the weekend. Can you share that, Robert?
Absolutely. So Megan Tunyan, my wife, and she's also an Etna Councilwoman, launched the Dinners for Neighbors fundraiser, something that she had been working on getting up for a couple of weeks. And we've talked about it here, and we've talked about the Dinners for Neighbors program. But just as a refresher, we pay local restaurants to make meals that are distributed to our senior center or our senior tower, as well as for the general public. And we've increased from 47 to 150 to then 62 to 176, and this week 200. And each week the crowds are increasing, or I shouldn't say crowds, but the number of people that come to have a meal, and we'll continue to increase the amount. And we're incredibly grateful for people's generosity and being able to give during this fundraiser. That is going to allow us to continue to increase and hopefully meet the need. I'll ask Mary Ellen a little bit about it later and just get her perspective on what a program like this means to the community.
Yeah, and I saw, you might have seen, for everyone out there, I posted a video, Megan posted a video on the fundraiser as well. I think we're over 80 different people donating. The number might be more since I last checked. And it's just really awesome to see the breadth of people giving growing as well as the amount too. And for that fundraiser, definitely look on our Facebook, but I'll just say, even just $8 allows one meal, a restaurant to make one meal for somebody. So any amount goes a long way. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. The last piece, Alexis, the last thing that happened over the weekend, we had the poetry contest around the bicycles. We had 5 winners, and those gift cards to Pollux were sent out, and they were really fun. They were really fun poems. I'm not going to read any here, but you can also see those fun bicycle stories. It in great contrast to the 2 other points that we just made, definitely connected me back to a lighter time, a more, and that side of life. And also the importance of having our kids do things like that, take the weight off them as well.
Yeah, and it's a fun, creative activity to get the minds flowing, and yeah. So that's awesome. Check out the poems. They're on our Facebook. I think we're ready then to transition to the interviews, since we have 3 of them. So, Robert, will you please bring on Kiya Tomlin?
Okay, sure thing. Okay, I'll see everybody later.
Okay. Hi, Kiya.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's really exciting to have you on.
My pleasure.
Can you start us off by introducing yourself?
Okay. My name is Kiya Tomlin, and I'm a women's wear designer and manufacturer based in Etna.
Great. I'm sorry if my responses are a little bit delayed, because I think yours are coming out delayed. So if there's a pause, that's why, just so you know. But so I guess maybe a little more to that, like how did you yourself originally get into the fashion industry, and why? What inspired you to go that route?
Okay, so I've always sewn and designed since I was a little girl, mainly out of necessity. I was very small, but I liked clothes, and back then they didn't have the cool kids stores that they have now. So when I was 10, I asked for a sewing machine for Christmas, and I got one. Unfortunately, no one in my family sewed or had any interest in fashion. So my mom read the manual with me and kind of dusted off her 8th grade home ec skills, and we learned how to work the sewing machine together, and I was off and running. So I didn't initially go to school for fashion design. I think I just didn't know anybody that did it. I didn't know what kind of career you could have. I kind of just thought that you could either be Ralph Lauren or the little old lady in the alteration shop, and I didn't think I wanted to be either of those, and I didn't know the broad, kind of spectrum of things that you could do within the fashion industry. So I actually went to college and studied pre-med. And after graduating college, I got married, and my husband he had graduated the year before me, and he was in graduate school, and kind of already on his path. And as I kind of looked around at what the path to becoming a doctor is compared to the path that he was already on for football, I didn't think that we could do both with the amount of job instability with his career and the amount of kind of committed location with being a doctor. So I took some time off to kind of decide what I wanted to do. And while I did that, I always just sewed and designed. And after maybe a year or two, I decided I wanted to go to design school. And I'm from Northern New Jersey. So I was looking at FIT in New York City, and they had a 1-year design program. And so I was gonna, I figured I'll just move back home and go to school for a year, and then, join back with my husband. And at the time we were living in Arkansas, and he kind of knew that if I left Arkansas, I was not coming back. So fortunately, he ended up getting a job at the University of Cincinnati, and they had a fashion design program there. And since he was an employee of the university, I could study for free as a spouse. So that's what I did. I went to design school for a couple years while we were there, and we left before I finished the program. So when we moved to Florida, I thought about, I wanted to transfer into another design school, but my husband was no longer coaching college football. So school was no longer free. And so I decided just to start a business. So that's what I did.
Well, that's an awesome story. And it's amazing how, I hear a lot how people just they end up in something they didn't intend to, but it's amazing in your case how, your interest in fashion and sewing kind of it was a common thread throughout your life, and it just ended up this way.
Yes.
So how did you end up with your business in Etna? How did you end up locating here?
Really, it was really kind of by chance. I had this dream of, once we started manufacturing our own line. I had a store in East Liberty, and then I had a small manufacturing space in Homewood. But my team is so small that we don't have enough people to work in 2 different locations. And so I was often having to close the store down just because we needed to be at the factory. And so my dream was always to have like a vertically integrated place where we could sell and manufacture, do everything we needed all in one location, and people could see how clothing's made. We could work when someone came in, we could stop what we were doing. We could help them, purchase clothes and then go back to working. And so it was just a dream, and I was kind of just like planning for down the future. And so I had a realtor, and he would just shoot me over, listings of stuff that came on the market. And I really was, it was very casual. I wasn't like committing, or I thought it was a couple of years off. And the building that I'm at now in Etna came across the computer, and the space was just, from the inside, was just like perfect for what I wanted to do. Perfect size, perfect that it was just bare bones. And but I actually had never heard of Etna before.
Yeah.
And I only live like 4 miles away. I just I'm not really a native Pittsburgher. I still have to use MapQuest, or where, the navigation system wherever I go. So when I saw the building was perfect. And then when I saw the little business district and the cute little gutters and all the little mom and pop shops, I just knew that's where I wanted to be. I always wanted to be in a neighborhood that was kind of on the come up and just needed a little love. And so and it was perfect.
Yeah, it sounds perfect, and it sounds like it was very much meant to be, and we are so happy that you're here too. So in more recent, I know with COVID-19, it has impacted your business, and I read, in an article that was published last month in the Trib Live about even despite the closures, your business efforts to contribute to the COVID-19 just broad relief efforts going on through mask making, which kind of fits into this niche skill that you and your business have. And I was wondering if you could share with us the story about how COVID-19 initially impacted your business and kind of the thought process or the steps involved afterwards that you took to make the transition to making masks right now.
Okay. Yeah, when we first got word that we were going to have to close, I met with my team, very small team, and I really actually was kind of optimistic. Like I didn't know how long we'd be closed down for, really what was going on, but I kind of said that I feel like we can survive this and come out on top. We are small. As long as we stay, flexible and open-minded, I think we have the ability to kind of pivot and we're not locked into things. We're not, because we don't wholesale from, don't manufacture at a factory in China or get our fabrics from China. We have, stocks of fabric in-house. We sew ourselves, we design ourselves. And so I was really like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of businesses like us that rely on other stores to purchase their wares and rely on factories to make their stuff and rely on other countries that are going to have trouble that we don't have. And I feel like we could come out on top after all of this. And so we left there just kind of like, okay, we'll take some, we'll, kind of work from home, do a little computer work. And the first week I treated almost like a little vacation, actually. I was, home all day watching the news on loop. And someone had sent me a text that was a post from a hospital system in, I think it was Evansville, Indiana, I believe. And it was kind of like calling all home sewers. We need masks, cotton masks. Here's a pattern. This is what we need. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. It was kind of before the whole mask shortage went like super well known. And so I was like, oh, you know what, this is something that we could do. And I have, employees that are sitting home, probably watching the news, that I'm paying them to sit there at home and watch the news. Like, this is a way that we could contribute. I could keep them busy, and, it would be good for us and good for the community. So I reached out to a few different people, and I was connected with Allegheny Health Network, and to see if, would they be interested in donations. And I think it was even early for them too, that it was kind of like, oh, we don't really need anything yet, but, we're seeing what's going on around the country. It's not a bad idea to like get in front of this and prepare, as a just in case scenario. So we'd be happy to take the donations. The plan was to use them for hospital support staff. So there was the shortage of the N95s. So let the, people that are in immediate contact, doctors, surgeons with the infected patients, save those for them. And then, other support staff, maybe food delivery, receptionists, that kind of stuff. Then the cloth masks that we were donating would go to them. And so we started doing that. And the goal was just to to donate 500 a week. So I thought between the four and a half of us that would be sewing, the half is my daughter, that, it'd be enough to keep us busy, but not too busy, but, 500 a week. And once word got out that we were doing that, we got just inundated with requests all across the country from healthcare workers that needed masks, that couldn't get them, and could we send? So we increased the amount that we were sewing to 400 a day, instead of, went from 500 a week to 400 a day. And really, really long hours. I mean, we were all doing this from home, so we didn't have access to our industrial sewing machines. We're using home sewing machines that are much slower, and they don't clip the thread, and they don't have the amount of power and speed. So we were sewing really like 14 hours straight a day behind a sewing machine, each of us, like through the night, late into the night, so that we were doing that. And then when the governor made the announcement that people were going to need to wear masks, then we got inundated with people wanting to purchase the masks because you just couldn't find them anywhere. And so we opened that up to purchase because we figured like, okay, well, this is great because the money from the purchases can help to support the continued donations. And so we put them on the website and opened it up. And in 2 days, I think it was 2 days, we had to shut it down because there were so many orders for masks that we were afraid it was going to interfere with us keeping pace with the donations that we wanted to make. And that was our main goal. So after we got all the purchased masks out and continued on with our donations, we took a little break after things seemed to settle down a little bit. And, we could see that other companies were starting to make masks. And so now they've become available, in other ways to purchase. And so just this week, actually, we re-released a newer design. We took a lot of feedback from people that had purchased previously about the fit and the comfort and the design and this, now we decided to make stylish masks. Now you can, there's still basic masks out there. If you're just interested in a basic mask, you can get one anywhere. We're now doing some that match our clothing collections more as a fashion statement, as well as some sports teams.
Awesome. That's really the evolution of that, story is so amazing. And too, it's hard to say how long we'll all have to wear masks. I'm sure it'll be, the precautions will be in place for a while. So if there's a fashionable mask that can match an outfit, that seems, like a nice new way to go with it for us in everyday life, at least. And so alongside
I just hope to get back to making clothes at some point.
Yeah, that's true. So you are going to be a part of the businesses in the yellow phase transition that are able to reopen up. So do you foresee being able to jump back into clothing, or do you think for now you're just going to be sticking with the mask making?
I think for now we're kind of swamped with the mask making. When we had to shut down, we didn't quite finish producing our spring collection. We still had a couple styles that that we didn't get finished. So we'll probably finish up those styles and continue selling the spring collection. But we do need to figure out what we're going to do for fall winter, because in a typical fashion season, we would have already decided on those styles, which we have designs. We just hadn't narrowed them down yet and finalized our decisions. But we haven't ordered fabric, which needs to be knit for us in LA. And then, shipped here, then we got to cut it and sew it and have it all ready by August, September. So kind of playing it a little bit slow on that, because we're a little behind the ball on ordering the fabric. And then also just trying to see what kind of shopping mentality people are going to be in. I don't want to spend money to produce a collection and people don't want to leave their house still, or don't want to shop, or, so then we're kind of stuck with, stuff that we wasted. So we're kind of I'm really trying to figure out a different way, maybe a much smaller collection, or maybe release things, one style at a time and just kind of pace it. So yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Yeah. Well, those are great considerations. I think so on a maybe more of a broader level, being a part of Etna's business community, I think overall, the community itself, and we all have been trying to support each other to get through this. But as from the community perspective, how do you see Etna's businesses recovering and advancing forward beyond COVID-19? And if that's too big, like, your role in that, or how do you see yourself in that, or just overall?
Well, I think definitely just being aware of the history of Etna. The community and the people, they're survivors. So I really don't have much doubt that Etna will come through this and be even stronger. But I think it's also a very tight-knit community. So I see a lot of support from, right now, really, it's kind of just the food establishments that are open, but it does seem to appear that there is a lot of support from the community to keep these businesses up and running, and I think that that'll continue as the other businesses start to open as well.
Yeah, definitely. Are there ways in which you would like to see other forms of support for the Etna businesses during this time, like now or even looking beyond into recovery? Are there things you think would be valuable to help, or just anything? Any thoughts on that?
I definitely think the borough has been really helpful in communicating the details about the different funding opportunities, assistance, and grants that are available to small businesses. I think
Mhm.
that was like really thorough, really helpful. And it
Mhm.
wasn't just like a one-time drop. I mean, it was really consistent feed of information. So a continuation of that, a continuation of, I know a lot of people applied for and maybe received the payroll protection program, which is
Mhm.
one of the forgivable loans. So, as details come out on that about how to make sure you qualify for that loan to be forgivable, information on that. So really that kind of assistance, I think, has been,
Mhm.
I was surprised that the borough was so helpful in that way to everyone, and really appreciative.
Yeah, we've seen on our level too, just a network of communication that's really strong in making sure everybody is aware of the opportunities available to them to seek support. I agree with you. The borough is very active and proactive in that, and I think that has certainly gone a long way um, towards the resilience of the community in the situation right now. Um, so I think just to maybe wrap up the session, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Um, I said through this program, we're able to support the local business owners that we bring on. And so from a few generous donations of others, we are able to provide a donation to you to support you and your business. So that's from ECO, from the Triborough Eco District, the Garden of Etna, and an anonymous donor. We have a $250 donation for your business. So we'll be getting that to you shortly. Thank you to all those who made this possible, and thank you, Kiya, for being on and for sharing your story. Before we transition, do you have any final message to the community?
Really just, stay together, stay strong. Look forward to getting back to a new normal, and think of
Mhm.
all the small businesses that make Etna the wonderful community is. And so just show your support.
Mhm. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing. Now, Robert's going to come back on and he's going to take both of us away, and Mary Ellen's going to join us. So thank you, and
Thank you.
we'll see you.
Okay, Alexis,
Hi.
how are you doing?
Good. It was so nice to hear from Kiya and her story and what her and her team and her business is doing right now. It's really awesome. A
Yeah,
realization of that was nice to hear, to get that insider insight.
absolutely. It was definitely just the idea of adapting what you do to find to find a new model, and I think that's a lot of what we've been talking about, and being adaptive. Um, things can't be done the same way, especially in how we're going to navigate this. So
Um, Jess Pfeifer is an Etna resident. She is Etna's junior council person right now, and she's also a senior at the Shaler area high school who is graduating this year. So she has a variety of different perspectives. I've worked with Jess personally through some initiatives related to youth with the Triborough Eco District. So that's how I've gotten to know her. Yeah, and she'll be able to offer us some insight on what it's like for her to serve as the junior borough council person. That's certainly such an interesting position for someone, for a high schooler to have, and what it's like to be a student right now, because that is an area that we have not had the opportunity to share that story yet. So we're looking forward to that as well. There's Mary Ellen. All right. So I think Megan and Jess are going to.
Hi, Jess.
Hi, Megan.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm so excited I get to talk to you tonight. Jess is one of my favorite young people. Do you want to just introduce yourself real quick, Jess?
Yes. So I'm Jessica Pfeifer, Etna resident. I'm 17 years old, turning 18. My birthday's Sunday.
What?
Yes. I'm a senior at Shaler High School. Hopefully, going to be able to walk. And currently finishing my 2-year term as junior council person.
Awesome. Well, happy early birthday, Jess. That's so exciting. 18, you're going to be an adult. Oh my gosh. It's amazing. So Jess has a lot of roles in Etna. She mentioned she's a council person. She's also a lifeguard at the Etna pool. She's also my babysitter, so she's very near and dear to your heart. So Jess, can you just tell us a little bit about why you wanted to get involved as a junior council person?
Yes, so I've always been involved in my communities ever since I was little. My pap took me down to Sharpsburg. We volunteered down there at the St. Vincent's de Paul Food Bank. I helped in the mural that was on the old Tippins building. I volunteered as a teacher's aide at All Saints. And junior council representative, it just gives me a deeper perspective on how local government operates, and it gave me a bigger opportunity to help make a difference.
Wow. I always say that, like, I wish I was you as a teenager. You're just doing all the right things. You're so involved. Yeah, you're really setting yourself up and your future so well. It's been so great to have you on council. What do you think your biggest takeaways from your 2 years in local government have been?
Definitely that council's not just the monthly meeting. We go in every month trying to figure out different ways to help make the community better. It's definitely showed me that each and every person puts in so much hard work and determination, and not just even inside our meetings. I mean, we pray that they only go for 2 hours, but sometimes they go way longer, which is okay. But everybody always puts in 110% all the time, in the meetings and outside the meetings, planning budgets and infrastructure and ordinances and just every event. It definitely has showed me that there's a lot more than just a meeting that goes on every month.
It can be pretty involved. So do you think that you have any interest in being in local government in the future?
I think I do. I'm definitely planning to maybe steal somebody's seat on the board, hopefully one day, to definitely push me more to do that, just to be more involved and know what's going on in every nook and cranny of our little community.
Yeah, you would be a great asset. That's my dream. You come back when you're ready to settle down, come back to your roots, and maybe then I can impart some knowledge on you that was imparted on me when I first started.
I would love that.
And we'll let the tradition continue. That's great news. I'm sure Mary Ellen's very happy to hear that too. So we also talked about how you were about to graduate. Now you did mention that you hope you get to walk. So there might still be a graduation ceremony. Is that still
there? Is a possibility. But now moving into the yellow phase with groups of 25, obviously that's not going to work with a class of about 400 kids. But we still have another month. Well, not even. No, we don't. We have a few weeks. But I'm thinking it's planned for June 5th. But if it doesn't happen June 5th, I hope that they would do something later, at a later date, to at least give us the credit that we've been working so hard for 12 years. It would definitely be a shame if we didn't get to do that.
I know. I hope that you get to do that too. It's definitely, such a bizarre thing to go through. What other kinds of experiences have you had being a senior and going through this pandemic?
Exactly.
Yeah. So have you Like, just kind of talk about what you and your friends are going through. I know you probably missed, like, not to dwell on the bad stuff, but like you probably missed like your prom and stuff like that. Has that all been part of this experience for you?
Yes. Senior dinner is a main thing that we all look forward to. That has been canceled. Prom was canceled, but they rescheduled it for July 30th, I think. Which, yeah, it's not whenever we wanted it to be, but at least it's something. They're trying to give us what we want. So, but it's definitely been hard.
Yeah. Have you been able to stay in pretty good touch with your friends, your teachers?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's a little harder, especially with the teachers, because they have 100 kids that they have to keep in touch with. So, but they definitely do their best to get back to each and every one of us as quick as possible. But it has definitely been a lot harder than to raise your hand in the middle class and ask a question, you know?
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine that must be so challenging for both the students and the teachers, having to navigate like this whole new way of doing things. I mean, you had absolutely no warning that it was coming, no time to prepare.
No.
You guys, I mean, it's an exercise in resiliency, at least, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm sure like your generation is so online these days, so it's really easy for you guys to keep in touch. Imagine if this happened when I was a high school senior, it would have been like
crazy.
They'd call you at your house and your mom would answer and they'd have to ask for you, and you know, there's like one phone line, so it wouldn't have been so good.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't even.
It would have been harder. So you did get a little bit of a treat last week, and I got to participate in this, and I was really excited to do that. So can you tell us a little bit about your graduation parade?
Yes. So Friday, May 8th, Shaler tried to dedicate that day as a senior appreciation day, and I asked all of Shaler area high school senior parents to decorate their house in some form of way just to give us an honor. And my mom and my neighbor took it one step further, and they decided to completely go all out and decorate my whole yard with a bunch of lights and banners and a whole bunch of stuff. I had no idea about what was going to happen whenever I stepped foot on to the corner of my driveway. I did know that my mom talked to Mary Ellen just to let her know that she was going to have some of my family drive by. Like, she didn't want any chaos to arise from that. But Mary Ellen definitely did go absolutely above and beyond and to surprise me beyond belief whenever I seen the fire department come and the police department and just have the mayor there and all council representatives. It was really, really something great.
Yeah, that was really fun. So, I mean, that'll be a good memory. Hopefully, like one positive silver lining that came out of all this whole new tradition of doing like drive-by parades for people to celebrate things.
My aunt said that I'll probably remember that more than I will remember the graduation itself.
Yeah, well, that's good.
It was definitely a surprise and definitely way more than I ever expected.
Oh, that's awesome. I was wondering if you were surprised, so that's really cool. I'm glad that was a little bit of a surprise for you. Definitely a great memory, and I hope you get to have both the parade and the ceremony, so we'll keep our fingers crossed for that.
Yes.
So moving forward, what are you looking forward to when this whole crazy pandemic is over?
Hopefully the pool. The pool in the summer is literally my sanctuary. It's my home. I live and breathe the pool in the summer months. I've become so close with all of my coworkers there and really close with a lot of families that come in through there, whether it's lifeguarding day and night, whether it's watching the water aerobics ladies, whether it's teaching, swim lessons. It's just really a place that I go to every day, and I really hope that we get that chance to do that this year.
Oh, me too, Jess. Yeah, you're Jess is an awesome lifeguard. She's always there volunteering for the aerobics and staying late. And I mean, she's there like every single day. So she's a terrific employee, hardworking. And Jess, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about your experience. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
On your graduation, and happy birthday. It's just a very exciting time for you. And I really hope that you get to do all the things that you've been looking forward to, because you really deserve it.
Thank you so much.